Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another edition of Dark Powerrr, where we cover everything that happens on AEW Dark and MLW Fusion. This was actually a pretty weird episode of MLW Fusion, but a pretty decent episode of AEW Dark. Some things that were hits, a couple of misses here and there, but kind of a middle of the road Dark, which I don't know, part of me was not that happy about, simply because we know we were going into beach break. But at the same time, I guess it's Dark. What can we really ask for outside of good matches and a little bit here and there that's going to move some kind of storylines forward? But before we get into things, guys, as always, hit that like button, comment, share, subscribe if you haven't already, and let's get straight to it. So on Dark, there are a couple matches that stood out. One was actually the opening match, which I thought was interesting for one of the choices of partners. So we had the Natural Nightmares, Dustin Rhodes and QT Marshall, teaming up with Nick Comoroto to defeat TNT, who are the Devon Dudley's boys, and Mbadu. Now, the match itself, pretty good. And Taz's commentary on the different aspects of the in-ring work that people need to do and the mentality that they have to have and knowing how to do certain things while keeping the idea of kayfabe alive is incredible. But what stood out to me was the choice of who was partnering with the Natural Nightmares. It's Nick Comoroto, and this seemed interesting because it could have been someone like Lee Johnson, who is a member of the Nightmare family, but it was Nick Comoroto, and I'd like to know why. Not to say why wasn't it Lee Johnson, but why was it Nick Comoroto? Are they going to be signing him? Is he already signed? Are they going to build behind him? He had, as you may remember, just a few short weeks ago, he had the return match of Jon Moxley when Moxley returned to AEW television for the first time since losing the world title to Kenny Omega at Winter is Coming. So that's a big spot for Comoroto. This is also a big spot for Comoroto. You're getting a win. You're teaming with AEW contracted people. What's the story behind that? I'm interested to know more, because he has the look. He seems as though he can go in the ring. Obviously, there's room for improvement. There's room for improvement with almost everyone, but there is enough there that I'm interested to see if they have signed him. That's something that I'm looking forward to learning about. After this, we have a firecracker of a match that's under 6 minutes long in Rey Fenix defeating Casey Navarro. This was a good match to me. Rey Fenix is hard-pressed to have a bad match. It doesn't really matter who he's in there with. And this week, he's in there with Casey Navarro, who is a pretty damn good talent himself. So the two of them are able to put together some really wicked-looking stuff in under 6 minutes. That's one that you really should check out. The next thing that I liked was the Ty Conti versus Tesha Price match, and then the Thunder Rosa versus Danny Jordan match. We had two back-to-back women's matches. I liked it. I liked different aspects of it. I'll get to that later. But we did have in between here. We did have a waiting room segment with, and this was a really great waiting room segment. One of the best ones. Ricky Starks is on there, and Britt Baker is hamming up with him, doing a great job. And what I liked about it was just the play off of the comparisons that Ricky Starks has got for his appearance to Young Rock. Britt Baker is clearly wearing the turtleneck chain fanny pack look that people use to compare Young Rock to Ricky Starks, and that Ricky Starks himself has referenced. He himself was wearing a white turtleneck and chain. No fanny pack, though. Maybe they couldn't find a white one in time. But just a good segment of just a little bit here and there, teasing out more about the build for the match at Revolution with Ricky Starks and Brian Cage teaming up against the TNT champion Darby Allin and the man they call Sting. Now, one thing I didn't like about this was that they cut from this to the Thunder Rosa match. And it just seemed a little weird because, or jarring. Jarring's the better word, because during that waiting room segment, Britt doesn't reference the Thunder Rosa match that she's going to have the very next night on Beach Break. So that part of it seemed a little weird. Why are you... I don't know. Why? Like, maybe the segments were... obviously, they were shot not in this order, but when they were cut and edited, maybe somebody should have put a little bit more thought to that, or a little bit just figuring out what is going on there with that one. One of the next things that I liked was another tag match, actually, with the Gun Club and John Skyler and Ray Jazz. This was a pretty good match to me. They had Austin Gunn on commentary, and that's always fun to see Taz on commentary with somebody that he doesn't like. Either he's going to be antagonistic towards them, or he's going to, in this case, play the, oh yeah, everything's cool, maybe take a pot shot here and there, but just generally try to stay on the person's good side. And finally, one of the things that stood out to me that I really liked was 10 defeating Jake St. Patrick. So the reason why this stood out to me, and this is more what I was referring to earlier, is that -1 is on commentary. And I swear to God, guys, -1 continues to shine as the MVP of Dark. He is getting the MVP award again this week. I don't know if I necessarily straight out said that he was the MVP the previous times, but pretty much every time he has been on, he has stolen the show. Just his level of hilariousness, both being in the moment and commentating on the match, but also being out of the moment, and just in the way he's interacting with Excalibur and Taz. And I really enjoyed how the kid has a very good way of knowing that he has a character. He is a character now, and he is supposed to be in character. Now, granted, we get it. Child actors are not a new thing. Children have been acting since many. Now, I wouldn't say the dawn of theater, but for a very long time. However, usually they're making a choice. They are kind of auditioning. They know what they're getting into, so to speak. They have their parents there, etc., etc. For -1, for Brody Jr., he has kind of had this put on him, right? Now, he is agreeing to it, yes, but it wasn't necessarily his intent to be this. Maybe down the road, because of how much we see that he loves wrestling and is talking about wrestling, but we don't know if he was planning on doing this at the tender age of 8. So seeing him be able to do this, that just adds another layer to it. And his knowledge of moves actually it's not like the greatest, but it's better than mine was at 8 years old. I can tell you that much. And on top of that, his ability to just stay in character and know who he is supposed to be at all times, even though he's only 8 years old. That's really good. He's gonna be big in the wrestling world. But somebody who is big in the wrestling world is none other than Mads Krugger. And Mads Krugger with MLW has been an imposing figure for some time. He is the Black Hand of Contra. He is the kind of assassin, the hitman of Contra Unit in MLW Fusion, and he has challenged Hammerstone to a Bakle Brawl. And we don't know what exactly that is. We know that a Bakle Brawl is supposed to be this bare-knuckle fighting thing that they do in South Africa. For those who don't know, Krugger is from South Africa. So we know that there's going to be some kind of, somewhat, I don't know. This is going to be vicious. It's going to hurt. It's going to be striking. There's going to be physical. It's going to be painful. It's not really going to be those things, but that's what it's supposed to be. So let's start with the top of what exactly is supposed to be happening during this MLW Fusion episode. We know that we are getting Jordan Oliver versus a member of the Sentai Death Squad. We know that we are supposed to be getting a tag title match between the champions Los Parks and Bukudo and TJP, who won their contendership match against Violences Forever just a week ago. And we know that we're supposed to get this main event of Alexander Hammerstone and Mads Krugger facing each other in some kind of a backlay brawl match. So let's start from the beginning. It took me a moment to realize, considering I'm still learning about MLW Fusion, that the person that Jordan Oliver, he pronouns pal, that Jordan Oliver was getting into the ring with was basically a nameless, faceless person. It could have been anybody. I thought maybe they actually had names. I didn't realize that they were just Sentai Death Squad goon. I also had to look up what exactly a Sentai Death Squad was, and that was a little confusing because with wrestling, kept directing me to the Sumerian Death Squad, which was a tag team of Tommy End and this other guy. And Tommy End, as we know, becomes Aleister Black or Mr. Thea Trinidad, if that floats your boat. Either way, that is not the case here. This is just a guy in a mask. And Jordan Oliver puts him away in a minute 25, as we expect. As soon as I realized that this was not an actual person, like in that sense, I was like, oh, Jordan's picking up this win. I kind of had a feeling Jordan was going to win this match anyway, because Contra Unit has to take another hit. It has to take a hit in this storyline with Injustice. And we see that there's going to be further down the line, Jordan Oliver and Myron Reed. Injustice is coming for Contra Unit. This is going to be something that shakes the foundation, shall we say, of MLW, because Contra Unit has been on top for so long. If Contra Unit starts to lose, it's going to change things. It's going to open things up for, I don't know, whoever is in charge now of Selena De La Renta's promotion. And that is where we come to our tag title match. So, okay. How do I talk about this? This was pretty bad. This was a pretty bad match. Okay. So, major respect to Bukudo, TJP, and El Hijo de la Park for trying really hard. LA Park really needs to retire. La Park needs to retire. Like, I don't know what exactly is going on there. That dude's moving slow as molasses. If Chris was on here with me, he'd be coming up with some incredibly funny comment about how slow LA Park moves. And Chris, if you want to edit something in here, feel free to do so. But honestly, it's not even worth your time because this is pretty bad. There are clear indications that they're beating up on people out of turn. There's kind of spots that are a little out of turn here and there, out of place here and there. And eventually they're going to cheat by having a El Hijo de la Park dressed person come out from underneath the ring and swap places, do like a bit of Bella Twin magic or some Eddie Guerrero cheating. That's a better way to put it. Eddie Guerrero cheating to pull up the win against Bukudo and TJP. Now, the majority of this match, TJP is pretty much out of it. He gets sidelined in the beginning. He's kind of hurting. He's on the ring outside, and he keeps getting taken out of the match. They're focusing on Bukudo. So the story, you can tell, is this teacher and protege of Bukudo, of TJP and Bukudo, trying to overcome Los Parks, but Los Parks are just too much for them. Now, okay, that story's fine. Here's ultimately my problem. I can clearly see what El Hijo de la Park is wearing. The person who gets into the ring to replace him, while he is wearing pretty much the exact same thing, it's kind of obvious that he's not wearing the exact same thing. El Hijo de la Park is wearing a red thing with like red eyes here, and around the eyes is this yellow highlight, a yellow accent coloring, basically down the entire goddamn chest. The guy who gets into the ring is wearing the same exact thing, but there's no yellow highlights. Now, I know what you guys are saying. This is wrestling. It's not that big of a deal. It's not that. It is obvious. It's on his goddamn chest, going from here down to his waist. It's pretty obvious. Why this referee does not see it, I have no idea. At least when it was Tom Lawler, it made sense because Tom Lawler is cheating for Los Parks. But this time around, it's an MLW referee. What's going on? But that builds into our larger storyline of referees in MLW. As we found out, I didn't realize this at the time. Now, this is an inner glimpse into the inner workings of my mind. I don't know that much about basketball. I watch it here and there, but I don't know a big deal about it. Ask me about football, I can talk to you for hours. I can talk to you about different teams, who's on the teams, what the contract situations are like, cap space, how they're building things out, whether it's a 3-4 defense, whether they're 4-3, I can talk to you about a whole bunch of things when it comes to football. Basketball, not so much. So I did not recognize that the referee for the Savio Vega and Holiday match was none other than Tim Donaghy. Shout out, thank you to Chris for pointing that out to me in one of our True Heels chats and bringing that up to me, because I was very confused as to what the was going on with that, and he thankfully pointed that out to me. Okay, and they bring that up actually during this episode. They have a segment about that. So when they did the segment, I was like, oh man, I wish I'd known that. Like, I would have been, but I got to laugh even more at myself and my lack of knowledge. Tim Donaghy, who is a known for fixing games in the NBA back in the day. Maybe he is teaching or I don't know, coaching or instructing the rest of the referees in MLW, because this guy clearly misses the fact that this is not El Hijo del Park who gets into the ring. Either way, those Parks retained their tag titles. It kind of had the feel that it was going to happen. You don't have a title switch, 2 weeks, and then 2 weeks later they lose the titles. I mean, you do if you're WWE sometimes, but most other promotions don't do that. And on top of this, TJP is not a signed MLW contracted person. And on top of this, the storyline is that there's a new promotion that Selena has to make, a new owner of her faction, of her company, that she has to continue to impress. So naturally, she should be able to pull it off the first couple times, and then maybe there's a floundering, and then there's some kind of friction between her and this new owner. So yeah, kind of expected that they were going to lose. That doesn't mean how they lose is just not important. But anyway, I digress. Moving onwards, guys, we have a match here between Gino Medina and Gringo Loco. Now, this was actually kind of cool for me because Gringo Loco is somebody that, he's from Chicago. I've seen a lot at Freelance, and he's really good. For somebody who is his size and you're not expecting luchador moves, he's really good in that regard. So this was a pretty cool match to see. 5 minutes, 30 seconds. Gino Medina picks up the win. Kind of expected that to happen. I don't think Loco is somebody who is signed to MLW Fusion, but really cool to see somebody who I've seen live at Freelance on TV. That's always a fun treat. Now, that brings us to this kind of weird main event. Okay. So this weird main event, which is supposed to be a Backlay brawl match, I guess it was technically for the MLW National Openweight title. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not 100% sure on that one because I didn't see the title with anybody. They didn't really tell me it was a title match. But Krugger did say bring the National Openweight title with you. So, all right, cool. This is supposed to be some kind of Contra base, Contra unit like safe house or base of operations or something like that. I'm not going to lie. There's a clear dumpster there that has Orlando Recycling on it and has a phone number. I'm originally from Florida, so I recognized the area code, and because I saw the area code first as the camera's shifting, because I couldn't read the word, and then I was like, wait a minute, and then when they cut back, I was like, oh no, that says Orlando Recycling on it, and sure enough, I mean, they have been filming outside of in a Orlando nightclub for a lot of these fusion shows, so it makes sense that this Contra unit, safe house, war zone, training area, jungle pit, I don't know, Blood Diamond Mine, is in Orlando, in a dump in Orlando. Okay, cool. Orlando's kind of a dump a little bit too. I mean, outside of Disney and Universal Studios, that's a different YouTube show though. To talk about that. So my problems here are a lot. The lighting is really bad, so you can't see what's going on for a great deal of this match, where they are, their surroundings, what the hell is going on. On top of that, it's just a kind of a chaotic mess. They spend way too long getting Hammerstone and Krugger into the same frame. Like, Hammerstone just walking... Like, what they should have done was the stuff in the beginning of Hammerstone and the ref and the camera guy arriving there and walking there. They should have put that at the beginning of the show, or in the middle of the show as kind of a hook to be like, hey, some crazy shit's going to happen. You got to watch this main event. Instead, and then they could have cut directly to the main event, and it wouldn't have felt as janky, because I'm watching this and I'm also looking at it on YouTube and I'm like, wait a minute. There's like 7 minutes left in this broadcast. How are they gonna have this? Like, I'm thinking this is gonna be like a really brutal brawl match craziness. What's going on here? And I don't know. They're minutes are going by and Hammerstone's still looking for this dude. But anyway, that's whatever. So they're going back and forth, etc., and it just has this weird ending where Hammerstone pins a guy. He pins him and then realizes that it's not actually Krugger, because he doesn't have the arm tattoos that Krugger has. And then Krugger comes out of nowhere, blindsides the dude, and then is just like, we have plans for you. And it just like cuts. I'm like, all right, cool, I guess. They're going to show me Hammerstone being tortured or something. I don't know like what exactly is going on here. But it just had a weird ending that, if that was the case, just have him try to pin the person, and then you see Krugger attack him and just drag him off. Or better yet, just drag him off in the first place. Like, don't even do the pinning thing. Have him continuously be attacked by people dressed like Krugger, or the, Sentai Death Squad people. And they're just like, whoa, Hammerstone is overwhelmed. Our camera guy is overwhelmed. Other thing that would have been great, I would have had Krugger attack the camera guy. Do the classic thing where the camera, turns on its side and everything, and everybody's like, oh shit, what's going on? And you just see him dragging old poor Hammerstone out the fucking frame. That probably would have been a lot cooler too. But, I mean, I get for what they were trying to go for, I guess it works. We'll see what happens next week with Hammerstone. I don't know what exactly is going to be happening there. But we are about 2 weeks away, 2 weeks away from Filthy Island. That's something I'm looking forward to. Tom Lawler, his Filthy Island show will be interesting to me. I want to see how they build that out. What exactly is going to be different about it? Is it just going to be allegedly at Filthy Island, or will it actually be, on an island of some sort? Will it be kind of open air in that sense, and we can see that they're clearly on an island, or are they just going to be indoors and telling us that they're on an island? I don't know, but we will be journeying through that together. And thank you guys once again for going on this journey with me each week. That is Dark Powerrr, as we go through AEW Dark and MLW Fusion. You can catch me here, and you can always catch me on Review of Honor with my co-host Ness. Until next time, guys, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and I will see you all